What's up, everyone? We made it through. Of course, if you're listening to it, guess what? It means it's the weekend. If you listen past, you start a new week. But regardless, you are listening to the Air Raid Attack podcast, and I got a wonderful guest to have on this show today. And if I butcher his last name, I apologize in advance. But Rocky Mountain College product Prince Shonola, who also played with some arena ball, especially here recently with the Orlando Predators. And we'll get with all of that. But first things first, Prince, welcome to the Air Raid Attack podcast. And if I happen to butcher your last name, I apologize.
What's up, Mike, man? Thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hey, I'm excited to have you on. You're our first, excuse me, your first arena football player on the show, which I always enjoy. And of course, growing up in Oklahoma City, we used to have an arena team long time ago, mid 2000s. I think it finally ended, 2008, something like that. Anyway, so anyway,
Mhm.
long story short, I'm familiar with the league, but nonetheless, it's more about you. And first things first, tell the listeners kind of a little about yourself as we dive into your wonderful journey. Of course, now with COVID, and as many would say,
Right.
post COVID, of course, we'll talk that as well. But tell the listeners out there a little about yourself.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm from Orlando, originally from Orlando, Florida. Went to Cypress Creek High School here in Central Florida. 30 years old. I love to play football, man. It's my life. It's my heart. It's my passion. And I'll do whatever it takes for an opportunity to prove what I got. That's just what it is.
Well, absolutely, and a lot of people may not know much about Rocky Mountain College, but I do. I think I follow. I think a few coaches follow the show on Twitter, but don't ask me
Right.
who. I can't tell you. But nonetheless, nonetheless, um, a lot of people would always say, the small ball just doesn't really matter. Of course, I played small ball, even lower than Rocky Mountain's level, and so I think small ball is more important than obviously what we see on television, the SEC, the Big 12, so on and so
Mhm.
forth. But what tell us about your experience at Rocky Mountain and your time there?
Yeah, well, Rocky, is a small NAIA school population, probably a school population, probably 1,000 students. It's very small, something different than what I was used to. Growing up in Orlando, it's a big city. There's a lot of people always. My high school had 4,000 kids. So it was a big adjustment too, as far as the weather goes, because the snow, come on, man, like I'm from the Sunshine State, so
Yep.
I had to adjust to that as well. But it was great, man. The community was loving. They were welcoming. Coaches were great. The teachers, like the professors, you get a lot of one-on-one interaction. So it was a real comfortable feeling, man. And it's beautiful, Montana. I don't know if you've ever been, but oh my goodness, you see all the seasons. You see every season. It's beautiful. So I enjoyed it, man, and I balled out. My teammates were exceptional.
Hey, I've never personally been. Hopefully here soon. Maybe sometime next year. I know that. As we wind down, I can't believe we're already at the end of 21, but hopefully in 22, here in the next few months, maybe I can head that way. But I've seen pictures and it's definitely beautiful. I can only imagine just physically seeing it, day in and day out, the beauty of it. And I'm sure during the wintertime it's even more, glorious, even though I'm sure you suffer with the temperatures, but nonetheless, I'm sure I'm sure with the snow and the mountains, I'm sure it's a lot, it's worth it.
And I went to Rocky. That's the funny thing. When I flew to Billings, I flew in the summer here. So
Wow.
I didn't realize that there would still be snow on the ground when I landed. So I left here in shorts. I left here in shorts, man, and I didn't have any of the right clothes at all until about 4 months later. I finally got the right clothes, man.
Hey, that sounds that sounds familiar because growing up, I remember because we left in the middle of the night. We growing up, well, I practically was born and raised in Oklahoma for exception of for a few years here and there, and Tucson, Arizona, and Wichita, but
Mm.
and then my time in Kentucky playing ball, but at a small college. But no, it's we left to Wichita from Tucson, and we left. I mean, Arizona, it's I don't think even gets cold. It's probably 60s at night. But
Right.
anyway, so it's warm, obviously. So we get to Wichita. Long story end of it, we kind of in your scenario kind of showed up in shorts. Everybody's looking at us weird because it's literally snowing, and but in Arizona, we don't obviously you don't get that cold weather or anything like that. So but nonetheless, so I kind of I kind of know your feeling.
Yeah, yeah. Arizona's beautiful. I've been there as well. I was with the Hot Shots for a little while out there, so it was fun, man. It's a great time.
Hey, and oh, absolutely, and went back. I know before we get to the fun stuff, it's we went for a buddy of mine went to his wedding back in May ish,
Right.
and so spent some time. But man, I'm telling you, even though that followed so I got there Friday, I think it was Friday, and so Saturday, what it regardless doesn't matter. The following day in the hotel, waking up, man, I'm looking outside. I'm laying there, come starting to wake up. I'm like, sweet, the sun's out. It's probably 7, 8, 9 o'clock. I'm thinking, nah, it's 5:15. It's 5:15.
Oh no.
So I
Man.
adjusted to it for a short amount of time, but trust me, it was not fun, at least on that part. But nonetheless, it's a beautiful state. It's very beautiful, and I would definitely recommend if nobody's been out there to definitely check it out because it's well worth it.
For sure. I agree 100%. 100%.
So we're talking, Prince here. Of course, he's played arena ball, and a lot of people obviously don't know arena football. And for listeners out there that may not know about it, it's kind of like if you've seen the FCF. If you haven't seen the FCF, well, just hear us out. So arena football obviously is indoor football. If you guys can't realize arena, and so it is a 50-yard line, 25-yard lines the midfield, and the goalposts are I can't remember how wide they are. The goalposts are, but they're not very wide. And of course, you got two large nets and so on and so forth. And so Prince, of course, he's gonna tell us about his careers. And so first things first, Prince is how in the world did you start off in arena football? And obviously, from playing what a lot of people would say traditional football, you're 11 man, outdoors, rain, thunderstorm, snow, sort of.
Snow.
Yeah, yep, snow and the good stuff. Then going indoors and practically, it's a limited amount of field. It's tough to get open at times, so on and so forth. But nonetheless, how was it? What was the difference like? How did you adjust?
Man, well, it's a good question. The indoor football game is it's a lot faster. You have to learn how to move in confined spaces and not waste too many movements. It's something I'm pretty good at is changing direction. And making a man miss in a phone booth type of deal. So I mean, it wasn't that much of an adjustment as far as just playing my game. But you do have to learn that sometimes you can't go full speed, and I
Yep.
learned that the hard way one time. So but it's very fun, man. And the talent in the arena game is just superb. I know a lot of people don't really understand the game, and it's a small field or whatever the case may be, but the talent is there. Not everyone can make it to the NFL when they want to.
Hmm.
So we have to find an alternative to give guys an opportunity to showcase their skills and their abilities. So but coming from an outdoor game, I love the outdoor game. I love to spread the field and the 70-yard bombs, stuff like that. And the long kick returns. I love stuff like that. But indoor, it gives you a chance to really interact with the fans. They're really right there with you. I can remember as a play's called, I'm running up to the line and I have one of my friends in the stands, cheering me on, saying, "Go Prince." I get to shake his hand real fast. We get to interact. It's real personal. And even after the games, we have like autograph signings and stuff where everyone lines up and we get to talk a little bit with the fans, ask them how the game was, and just chop it up. So it's great, man. I love it a lot, honestly.
That's awesome. And I remember, the short amount of not really short amount. I think the second stint for at the time the Oklahoma City Yard Dogs when they were in the AF2 and then in the AF2
Hmm.
and then moved to the Arena Football before they obviously closed business and all that. But I remember that there was a specific game. It was Louisville and Oklahoma City, and man, Prince, I'm telling you one thing: if these fans could, if these fans could have got on that field, even though it's not a big field, man, you would have thought it was a riot because the refs were
Right,
horrible and it actually got
right.
nasty between both sides. But it was the atmosphere and I think what makes it so special, and I think and I like what you said was you get to interact with the players, and obviously I never played arena ball, but just being a fan of it, you interact with the players and coaches, and everyone's for the most
Hmm.
part is down to earth. And but what I like about it, makes it so special, like you said, you get to chit chat because literally everyone, if you're listening, you are on the field. Obviously, you're so close because there's the borders, there's padding, that's your quote unquote sidelines, you're out of bounds, and it's a
Hmm.
fun sport. And I think it's a sport that doesn't get much recognition.
Right, right. Exactly. It used to have a
Oh
big,
yes.
yeah, big name when the Ironman football was a real big deal back in the days. But I mean, in the AF1, excuse me, in the AF1, when I was in training camp with Albany, everything was beautiful. Everything was set up nice. Everyone was treated nice. The coaches were professional. Organization was professional. So just being in situations like that gives you a comfortable feeling though as well. You know, as like being in a position where you can grow.
Hmm.
A lot of players they want to see the NFL. They want to be a part of the CFL. But if you can build a foundation and a platform from where you're at and what you're doing to grow for yourself and leave a legacy no matter where you are in life, that means more and speaks more than just trying to chase a dream that everyone else is telling you that you should chase. A
Well,
lot of people
absolutely,
have to be realistic.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And one thing that, I really like your mindset is chasing something, and of course you're always going to have your haters. Not so much. Well, I wouldn't be doing football. You need to quit with the football thing and do X, Y, and
Hmm.
Z.
I've heard
So,
it all.
oh, I'm sure you did, and you hear it quite a bit. And it's sad that, and I can't remember what podcast it was. It might have been um, a few weeks back, but when Stephanie Joplin was on, and she was practically saying it, in a different way that you were saying it was, I finally had to set boundaries to realize, hey, I'm going to do, in a quote unquote, do me and do what's best for me. I mean, at the end of the day, obviously, you don't want to, go off on the deep end, but, you got to do you. And a lot of people, I think, and it's sad that you see a lot of them will kind of give up. I think they get enough negativity. They just kind of give up on the dream. And then 10, 15 years later, whatever it may be, to look back and be like, man, this
Hmm.
really sucks. I wish I could have done whatever that they're trying to pursue. So leading up to that, what growing up and obviously going through high school and your time at Rocky Mountain, what made you decide that you wanted to be a football player?
Um, I've always loved the sport since I was a young kid. There was a time in my life where a lot of the things around me were just broken down, but the one thing that remained consistent was the love for football. And that's what kept me out of a lot of negative situations that I was surrounded by. So it's kind of like for me, football found me, and kind of like molded me and taught me discipline and helped me grow. It showed me that there's different ways to communicate. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
um, since a little kid, I've always loved to play. And as I grew older, I understand that now it is a business. But if you lose the fun for it, then what are you doing it for? You know?
Excuse absolutely. And during and we're kind of easier way. Obviously, we talked some time at Rocky Mountain. We're going to slowly get into the arena ball. I think that's really what um looking forward to. But during that time, of course, a lot of I've asked some people that may come on, especially in positions like you're in, as a player or even a coach. We always have, like, for me, obviously my parents will always be my inspiration, especially my dad. And you always have the special ones, but obviously the parents, on top of your parents, who's been your most inspiration excuse me, most inspirational person throughout the journey, and what's been motivating you?
Well, it's been a collective. It's been a pool of people who stayed in my life and kept me motivated and driven, and really were in my corner for the better. It's not specifically just one person. You know, it's a collective of a lot of people. That continue to help me believe in myself as well, that I can get it done no matter what my situation looks like. So my motivation is also derived from them. It's driven from them. I take it from my mom that I see struggling, from my brother, that's going through his whole ordeal. My friends who passed away,
Hmm.
year by year, I'm losing a lot of friends. And it's like, what do I want to live for? What do I want to be remembered for?
I like that,
So,
and a lot of people, it's all about your legacy. And
right.
I've always said, people, like my dad, unfortunately, his health is declining, and
Yep.
and and it's always, he told me, I'm not going to also talk about my death and all that here, but he
Right,
said,
right.
"Hey, I want you to," he's conducting me to do a service. And obviously, being my dad, we all know sons and our fathers, we want to make our dad proud. If anybody, we've got to make dad proud. And
Right, right. Right.
it's always one of those things like, well, what about your mom? Well, we're going to take care of our mom, but for it's always the like, got to make my dad proud type thing. But so obviously I got conducted, and even like, it's like legacy, and it's all about legacy. And you can think of whatever, but it's all about legacy, and you nailed it. I mean, it's you gotta make what's best of the situation, and say, hey, what do I want to live for and pursue, and so on and so forth. And I applaud you for
Yeah, man. Thank you. It's real. Definitely.
that. So here you are, Rocky Mountain, and you're heading. So arena football, how long after your time at Rocky Mountain were you before you got into arena football?
Oh man. So after leaving Rocky, that was about 2018. I left Rocky. I had a pro day at Montana State and a pro day at Bethune-Cookman University in Florida, Daytona Beach, Florida. And shortly after that, I had two CFL tryouts, one for Saskatchewan Rough Riders here in Miami,
Mhm.
and another for the BC Lions in Baltimore, Maryland. After that, I had two All-Star games, one for the Podium Show in Orlando, Florida. I mean, Orlando, Florida, and Miami, Florida. Shout out to those guys. That was my first All-Star game. It was great, man. It's a great experience. And the second All-Star game was the FCS D1 Bowl in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, actually. So that was a great experience as well. Shortly after that, I got invited to the AAF.
Very nice.
Yeah, so the general manager at that time, Phil Savage, sent me a contract, and I was with them for about 3.5 months, with mini camp and full training camp concluded. However, I was released from there, and from there is when the Albany Empire saw me, because they saw me at practice one day in Texas when we had our training camp in Texas. They saw me at practice, and once I got released, they called me up and said, "Hey, how would you like to come play?" Coach Les Moss called me up and said, "Hey, how would you like to come play arena?" At first, I was like, "Wait, arena?" I had the same mindset as everyone else. Like,
Right,
arena?
exactly, absolutely.
I want to go to the NFL, man. Like, I'm in the NFL developmental league, and I'm balling out. I'm doing what I have to do. I'm sticking to all my assignments. NFL guys have came in and gone, and I'm still there. So to me, the fact that Phil Savage found me off Twitter and I went to a small school and so forth, so on and so forth, all the odds stacked against me still found me with
Mm-hmm.
no agent, with no representative. So I definitely believe in myself and I definitely believe in what I can do. It's just that when coach told me about arena, I was like, wow, how am I gonna all right, let's do it. Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. And I went out there, I learned a lot. However, I was not ready, not having enough experience, not really understanding the game and the rules and controlling my speed and when to turn it on, when to turn it off. But shortly after that, I got an opportunity with the Carolina Cobras and the NAL with Coach Billy Beck. That was a great experience. I was there for about 4 games. Scored a few touchdowns and got some great kick returns in. Met some great people. That organization was amazing. It really was. Soon after that, I was signed to Jacksonville Sharks, but COVID hit,
Mm-hmm.
so that season was just gone. And then this entire time, I'm wanting and working for an opportunity to get back outdoors. However, I take what I can get. Like I told you earlier, I'm not going to sit here and pout. I'm going to put the work in and prove it. So I hopped in with the Orlando Predators, and I feel like I had a great season. So let's just see what's next.
Absolutely. And and kind of rewind before we get to COVID. 'Cause I know COVID's affected everyone to some sort, some
Right.
one way or another it's affected somebody from that special thing, and well, not special but from that event, but and still currently is. I shouldn't even remotely put it away. But go into, like, for example, the AAF, and of course we all, if a lot of people, even if you just follow football, a lot of people a lot of people will know about the AAF, and the good, the bad, the ugly. And I liked it. I thought it was a great product. I know that there's a lot behind the scenes that took place and so on and so forth. But during that time, new league and all that good fun stuff that always kicks off. What was their way? And also, I don't want to say nothing that if it might get you in trouble legally or whatever. I don't want, because I know there's still
Right.
stuff out there that there's still cases out there. So obviously, if anything that is a case that you can't say, by all means, yeah, please don't, please don't
Right.
answer. Yeah, I don't want to cause no
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah. Me
Um,
either. Trust me. I do not want to get in that pool. I'm not ready for that.
and so, um, but how, and that, when a new league like that kicks off, what was their way, not just towards you but towards everyone that played? What was their way of getting you guys out there, communication wise, from communicating to you guys to setting up camps or tryouts or whatever the case may be? What was the whole process when the league started to getting practically players to get on board?
Right. So yeah, there was a tryouts. They held tryouts around various cities for guys to attend, which is funny because I didn't get a chance to do that. The most at the time where I was able to go, the nearest tryout was in California. So I was like, oh man, I gotta pay for the ticket and pay for the tryout. It was a stressful situation. But yeah, the guys will either try out or send their film in. You can also send your film in to get evaluated. That way, your name could be entered into the draft pool. So a few guys at the top got drafted, and then so on and so forth. The rest of the guys are dispersed amongst the teams through contracts. So it was great. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It was really great. The venues they had set up in, the meals, the training staff, the knowledge. I was sitting at a table with Heinz Ward, man, having a full conversation
Wow.
for the whole hour, just talking about life and picking his brain and seeing what knowledge he can give me. Being on the same field with Michael Vick. There was just so many talented people, like catching passes from John Warford, who's still with I don't know if he's still with the Rams now, but who's also a great guy. You know what I mean? And it's
Wow.
a lot of talent that I was surrounded by. So that was a blessing to be just in that situation, period. And the fact that I didn't have to try out, and I was one of the first 100. First, I was one of the first 100 players signed to the league. And I didn't have to try out, so it was pretty surreal.
That's awesome. Of course, I'm just gonna ask one simple question. No, I'm kidding. No, what was obviously I'm not gonna ask everything that Heinz worked. I really believe that there's certain conversations that's really meant just for that, in between that moment. Was there
Right.
anything special that really spoke out to you that Heinz Ward said to you during you guys' conversation, or was he just really just like, hey, keep grinding, keep focused, and your time's gonna
Yeah,
come?
there was something that stuck out to me. I'm not going to say specific names on the
Right,
person
exactly.
talking about. However, he named the situation, or he replayed a situation, just in his career of someone looking up to him and seeing how he would get a workout in before the workout. He would be at the stadium early, running, conditioning, working out before working out with the team. And once that rookie player that came in and caught on to what he was doing, had one of the best decades at his position for any player in the NFL. So yeah, just something like that. Just having the knowledge from him, saying, "Hey, this is how I did it." So now when I follow suit in that same process, or I try to walk in his same shoes, I know what I have to do, and I have a recipe for success.
That's awesome, and
Yeah.
especially it's just an amazing. I always believe that God puts people in your life at a certain point, and
Oh
whether
man.
people whether people believe in God. I know a lot of friends that don't. I work. I shouldn't say well, not coworkers, but I've worked with people in the past, and not so much just work like 9 to 5 or whatever my shift might have been, but just in general. I got friends that's non-Christians, but I've always said it, and I grew up a pastor's kid, and so I kind of know the expectations of being a pastor's kid, and I
Right.
haven't lived up to it at times, trust me. But we all make our mistakes, but you look at it, but I've always told people that you know, hey, whatever current situation that you're going through, and God always puts those special, those certain people in your life just for that one reason. And a lot of people, it may be like, well, that makes no sense because now they're all of a sudden gone. Hey,
Hmm.
I didn't tell you they were going to be there forever, but he just put them at
Hmm.
one moment to keep you grinding or focused, or maybe there's that one statement that really stuck out, and and so on and so forth. And hey, I mean, that's awesome that you get to meet Heinz Ward. Here you are coming in, about to start a brand new league, and right across from me is Hall of Famer Heinz Ward.
Right. Right. Michael Vick, Heinz Ward,
Yep.
Troy Polamalu. Like, I can go on and on and on about these guys, man. And like the room was full of talent. Full of talent. I'm telling you, man. It was a great deal. It was a great situation.
And that's awesome. And so fast forward, here you are going through AAF, getting released. Of course, everybody knows, if you know the history of it, the league then folds and files bankruptcy, and the rest is history. And now, we're so we move on to arena football. So after AAF, here we go into arena ball. Excuse me. Was Carolina your first team? Was that correct?
That Yeah, I would say Carolina's the first team where I've actually got playing time for
Nice.
an arena team. Yeah. And my first touch was a kick return almost to the house. My second touch was a kick return to the house, but they called it back.
Ah!
Yeah. But the next game after that, I scored a few touchdowns against Orlando, which is pretty ironic because I'm from Orlando. And yeah, I had a pretty good few games after that, but then I was released shortly after that as well. And I understand the aspect. I understand,
Right.
coach's philosophy. Sometimes if I'm not in that or what he believes, then parting ways is not something that we should dwell on or be angry about. When I was released from the AAF, I looked Rich. I looked the head coach, Coach Newhouse, right in the face, shook
Hmm.
his hand, had a real conversation and appreciated it. I told him I thank you because this opportunity is something I can't even dream of, and it was great. And if we cross paths again, it's just know there's no burnt bridges or anything like that, you know. But yeah, Carolina was nice. Carolina was nice for sure. And it's funny because when I scored two touchdowns against Orlando while being with Carolina, the next year playing for Orlando, I went to Carolina and scored two more. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. This world, I'm telling you, is full of circles.
So you get to Reno, you get to Carolina, and obviously you're aware, you're used to the what we all call traditional football. You're 11-man outdoors, the good stuff. And so here you go into Carolina. What was your first thoughts like when you walked into the arena, or regardless of whatever it was, knowing that now you're indoors? Was there any thoughts going through your head like, this is going to be interesting, or was it one of those like, you know second guessing yourself, or were you just going to grind and see what happens?
Yeah, I was more of just going with the flow. Leaving Albany, I knew that I had some type of knowledge under my belt. I understand the play calls. I understand, the responsibilities, at my position. So I went in there with a little more confidence in what I can do, and it showed. Um, but yeah, at the same time, I was like, man, if I could just time up my speed and time up, how I want to make the defender move, it would be a lot easier for me, to show that I can run routes in whatever space that you put me in. And yeah, that's just my objective, man, just to get back outdoors, honestly.
Hey, I don't blame you, of course. I always growing up, going to the games with my dad, I always told my dad it'd be fun just to play one game in the arena ball, just for the heck of it.
Oh my man, the entrance, I'm telling you, walking into the stadium for Carolina was amazing. Nothing compares to the Amway so far, and I'll tell you that right now, where the Magic's play.
Oh,
It's
I'm
it's
sure.
it seats 20,000. It's amazing. But Carolina was they had a really nice setup, man. It was dope with the entrance, with the smoke and all that stuff. And man, at kickoff, the ground is just shaking. It's so exhilarating, just the experience of being indoor. All the fans yelling with the cowbells, and the announcers going crazy. It's nice, man. Everybody screaming, losing their minds. It's nice.
And that's funny because a lot of people don't realize, I know I'm showing my age a little bit. I'm not that old, but mid 30s. But I remember, back in 2000 when we had the Oklahoma Wranglers and Bob Cortez, who was a legendary arena coach. I don't know if he's still around or not now, but we had Ron Lopez, who I think had cancer for a while. I'm not for sure what the outcome of that was, and I can't think of the receiver's name because Al Hunt was with the Yard Dogs. I can't. Lamont Cooper was a big time wide receiver for the Wranglers, and I think he played with like San Jose, the SaberCats. I think a little bit if
Okay.
he did with the Rattlers, but like I said, I'm showing my age a little bit because
You going back to 2000? Oh my goodness.
yeah, I'm
Big
talking. We going back.
90s.
Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee had a team, and Green Bay had a team, and Orlando and Tampa Bay. Of course, they're the original arena footballs, but LA, I think, had a team for a little bit before they went to the Kiss, but I think they were like the Avengers or something.
Mm.
Anyway, but no, arena football is amazing, and I wish, and hopefully, maybe not so much actual AFL, maybe IFL. I know the NAL's kicking back up into gear, and maybe one of those leagues can really run with it and make it a big name league, where it's literally on ESPN like AFL was and all that. And of course, that's time to tell. But anyway, so what was it like? I know you mentioned, on the kickoffs, now what was because now I kind of want to pick your head because the reason why I'm going to ask this question. So I was a ball boy for the no, oh wait. Oh, no, oh wait, here we go. Oh eight Yard Dogs. And so we got to play, we got to throw the ball with some of the players and got on the field, and they, obviously we were quote unquote catching the balls off the net. Well, I'm
Right.
gonna be honest with you. I'm a fullback and a tight end. I'm not meant for catching. I'm not meant for catching balls off the nets.
Right.
And so I did okay. It could have probably been better, but nonetheless, um, when it comes to literally science, if you will, what's the setup? Here they go. Let's just say, for example, you're Carolina and Orlando kicks it off. And so here we go, quick action because it's a short field. How quick mentally did you give yourself to think, okay, timing from the ball to my hands, from my hands, taking off as much as you can downfield?
Honestly, I was talking to my girl about this the other day. You really don't have time to think. It's more of a feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have it's more of a it's a like a normal for you to you got to catch the ball. You know where the people are behind you when you turn around. You know that they're streaming downfield ready to take your head off. Find the first patch of grass that you can see where your defender is being blocked and make a move. The rest is just athleticism from there. Make a man miss, make the first man miss, and just take off. Wherever the green grass is, let your vision take you. You know, you have to be able to see the guys that are not being blocked.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difficult part of that. Sometimes I find myself counting while I'm running.
Nice.
Like, oh, 3, 4. Oh no, I gotta go this way. Nope, it's outnumbered over here. No, I had the green grass over here. There's less people on this side. So it's really like you really I don't know. It's just like you don't really have that much time to process. Because if you think too much, then what's gonna happen?
Yep.
You're
You're
gonna
gonna
get your
muff
head
the
blown.
kick.
That's too. That's too. That's too. You really just have to bring the ball to your, bring your eyes to the ball and the ball to your hands all at the same time, and just take off, man.
And of course, course, you know, I got to get your first reaction. What was your reaction? Were you like, well, first off, what was your reaction when you ran the kickoff back, but the penalty was called back, so the touchdown obviously didn't count? Well, 1A and then 1B. What was it when you actually took it to house? Did you happen to look around, make sure there's no yellow flags on the field before you started celebrating? Or was the adrenaline just too much for that one?
Oh man, I was so hyped when I thought I scored. I told myself while I was running, man, I can do this. Like I can do this every single time I touch the ball. That was my mentality. I can do this every time I touch the ball. And then when I scored, or when I crossed the goal line, and I turned around, there's a flag at the 15. And then as I go review the film, there was nobody did anything wrong, but they called the block in the
Oh,
back. They called the block in the back, and you gotta respect the game.
right.
We still won. So, but yeah, it was a crazy, crazy experience, man. I really appreciate that. Every time I am back there, I kick return. I always tell myself just make a miss, go as fast as you can, go as fast as you can. So I always tell myself.
And a lot of people be like, well, you can always make a miss and still get tackled. Trust me, in arena football, I can't speak as a player, but obviously Prince's proven point. When you make a miss in arena football, you got a lot of green grass ahead of you, or at
Yeah,
least turf. Let me put it that way. You got a lot of green turf ahead of you, and often more times than not, you're gonna be getting six out of that thing.
right. And in worst case scenario, if you don't, you still have to put your body in the best
Yep.
position to take or avoid the hit as it comes because you're gonna get hit. People get
Mhm.
tackled, but it's how you get hit, how you position yourself. To try to reduce some of the impact. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And so here you go, Carolina, excuse me, Carolina to Orlando or Jacksonville. What was it like? I know it was Jacksonville, but what was it like being back, at least in your home state, playing football?
Oh man, that's a big reason why I signed to Orlando is because I literally live in Orlando. My mother can come see me play for the first time in her life and in my life, and it's as a professional. So it was a great feeling just to play in Florida and to represent Florida, represent Rocky, and just to put on for my city, basically.
kind of um, walk the listeners through, and even myself, and
Yeah,
you go from Jacksonville to Orlando. Now you're at home. Literally, you're at
right.
home. And what was it like? Of course, first off, signing with Orlando, and then getting the pads and the jersey on for the first home opener in Orlando. What was it like for you to play literally in your home city, and more importantly, in front of your mom that was that was able to see you for the first time play in her life?
I teared up a little bit. I was a little emotional at that time. But it's tears of joy. You know what I mean? So um, it was great. Being able to put on the Orlando uniform. And to represent and say, hey, man, no matter what I've been through, no matter what state I crossed to chase my dream, it led me back to where it all started. So it was it was great. It was great to show my ability, to put on a show for Orlando, for my mom, for my brothers, my girlfriend. It was nice.
I like that, and obviously not getting too personal, but what how did what did your mom mean to you? Obviously, I don't want to get too personal and all that, but um and talking all that, but what has your mom meant to you growing up, and even till this day?
Everything, honestly. Every family has its trials and
Hmm.
tribulations and ups and downs, and but one thing that I won't get another chance at is another mom.
Absolutely.
That's my mom, that's my dad, and that's always going to be that way. So the bond that we have is great. It's amazing. She means everything to me, and that's a big reason of why I do what I do. Again, no matter what the situation appears to look like, I have a lot on my mind and on my heart that I feel like is unfinished for me. So
I love that, dude, and and you're right, and I kind of and kind of I like what you said, and not get too personal in my personal life, but I hope a certain somebody, my brother, but here's
right.
that. I haven't talked to him in forever, unfortunately, and that's a whole long story. Um, but anyway, I'll have to somehow see if I can get somebody to sneak it over to him, like, hey, realize that. And I love it what you said. You got one mother and even one dad, and at the end of the day, they still your parents. I mean,
Right.
the good, the bad, the ugly, and trust me, my mom and I've had our differences, and but at the end of the day, that's still my mom, and so
Right.
you know, but all is well on that end. But so obviously, we got all these leagues talking. The USFL supposed to be starting 22. Of course, the XFL, and I think they said 23. Who knows what may happen from there? The NFL and every other leagues that's popping up or rumored
Right.
or all this. Obviously, what are ways that before I get to COVID, what are ways that you're continuing to improve yourself that you can? One, and then for two, from my personal standpoint, because I would love to help you out as even I may not have no official tie that I know of. I don't know. Maybe somebody's listening to this podcast I don't realize that has good ties to some team. I don't know. I mean, that'd be cool if they did that
Go
too.
for
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Uh, before we start COVID and all that, how are you currently still preparing for continuing to play football? And of course, one, and then two, from my personal side, because I love to help you out, even if I just get your name out there, just tweeting it. How can I help you out as well, my man?
Yeah, well, I just continue to work out, continue to stay in shape, stay on schedule, 4 days a week, make sure because I'm also working a real job.
Right.
So I try to get as much conditioning and working out as I can throughout the week. For one, and for two, just be a student of the game. Just keep studying. Keep studying my position, the players at my position who are doing it at a high level, and just learning as much as I can from every source that I have. And as far as what can you do, I mean, you're doing it. give me the opportunity to explain or to express who I am and my side of my story. Let the people know who Prince Shonola is and what he's all about. So you're doing it right now.
Hey, I'll keep on doing it. Moving forward as well. And so trust me, I'll definitely got. I know there's coaches out there that's listening and that listens. I got some of their numbers. High school coaches, I'm sure they gotta know some people. But trust me, I know there's like I always say, there's that one person. Just it takes that one person
All right.
to just lead. God is in control, and then He just uses all these people. And trust me, sometimes it's like, what just happened?
I know exactly how that is. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, when I was invited to the AAF training camp and mini camp, and the way that I was treated and just the whole situation, that's exactly how I woke up every morning. Like, how the heck did I get here? I know I put in the work. I know I
Right.
played for it. I know I stayed true to the course. But sometimes, you get an epiphany like, oh my goodness, I'm really doing something. Sit down and reflect a little bit.
So COVID, of course, it's affected, everyone, in some way it's affected everybody. For me, maybe not so much job wise with us being in central, East Central. So, I literally worked through it and just crossed the fingers you didn't catch it. I mean, that was kind of one of those things. But
Right.
for me, from size of work, my dad major stroke and unfortunately caused him to be majority blind. He can still see out of his right eye, but not very well. And of course, so he was in the hospital, of course, with all the restrictions and visitation limitations. We couldn't go see him. Some, mentally, I'm thinking, well, this is because trust me, it wasn't good. And
Yeah, I'm
something, well,
sorry.
this is not going to be not going to do well. So, but from your standpoint, well, one, um, I know from a football standpoint, I know it probably obviously limited, as you mentioned earlier, canceled the season.
Hmm.
Kind of take us through briefly. Obviously, I mean, I know it was tough mentally and to you just personally. How did that affect you? And what was your mindset like when you got the call or text or email that hey, the 2020 season's done and we'll aim for this in 21?
Oh man, my heart, my heart shattered because I'm a little seasoned. I'm a little older than a lot of guys in my position. Um, so for me, every year counts, every play counts, every rep counts, every opportunity counts. So when I lost that year, I'm like, oh man, another year, someone's gonna bring up my age about how I'm getting older, and but I stayed the course and I continue to work out constantly, continue to work out. I got a roofing job at that
Nice.
time. Yeah, it's not nice, but but the money was okay. It kept me afloat.
Right.
It kind of kept me in shape. All the hard labor that I had to do.
Hmm.
Um, but other than that, man, I stayed focused throughout the entire year.
And obviously, the question I always ask, and it seems to be, I think I ask everybody that comes on, or at least I try to. Um, 2020 was a year I think we like nobody's ever seen, from COVID to social injustice to
Hmm.
obviously politics and the rest, everything else that came in between. For you personally, just looking back at 2020 as a whole and as everything gathered, not so much just COVID, but just everything in general, what did what did 2020 teach you during I feel like the longest year of my life? Um, but what did 2020 teach you just personally with all this other with the other issues, the issues that obviously needs to be handled correctly and improved on as well? What's ways that affected you personally just from top to bottom?
Yeah, well, for me, the lesson I would say that I learned is just to do more. Don't get complacent with where you're at because it could be taken away.
Right.
Always try to do more. Always try to look outside the box. Because when football was taken away, I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? Not really having that structured plan A1, like
Hmm.
I didn't have that full structured planned out because my plan A was football, plan B football, plan C football. You know, so just to realize and look back and reflect and say, hey man, just do more, be more of an entrepreneur. Because it's not only going to help you with football, but your life outside of football.
Absolutely. I like that. And excuse me. And, I think a lot of people, um, first of all, of course, kind of trying to, break the ice. But I think a lot of people in 2020 really got to know each other very well with the lockdowns and the restrictions and
For
everything
sure.
else.
Quarantine
Um,
and stuff. Right.
and I know I learned some stuff about myself just personally, and it's like, wow, I got some stuff to work on. But nonetheless, it's nothing bad. Just like, man, I didn't realize that you need to appreciate some of these people more often because,
Hmm.
boy, this is, here we are griping about we can't go to, to any kind of restaurant, Applebee's or your local Mexican diner or whatever, because it's
Hmm.
closed. It's like, we always yell at the waiter or waitress because they got an order wrong and so on and so forth. Now it's closed. I'm like, man,
I'm sorry.
exactly. I like that. Yep. That's exactly what I was
Man.
like. I'll be nice if you guys please open.
Exactly, man. That's
Walmart, at least I know from Oklahoma City standpoint, our Walmart was 7 to 7. After that, it was closed. I mean, it was after 7 p.m. here. It was
whoa.
strictly you better run for your life because
Yeah, that's tough.
yeah, it was not fun. But even though cases are high, it's starting to get back to what they call norm. But it's a question I think a lot of people I always try to ask just because simply, and one of the sponsors for the podcast, his name is Dave, and he's the owner of La Terrain Watches, and he put it into great perspective when he came on the show. Oh Lord, months back, but he told me, he says, my own version of it was, practically was, Michael, I took everything for granted. We were so in a rush that we didn't realize that such and such, might have been from the littlest of things to the biggest of things that was taken away. And then, yeah, you might not like Walmart's after 7 p.m. service because usually after 7 p.m. you're down to two actual real cash registers and everybody else is self checkout, and then you got some about four people with 50 items or whatever. But nonetheless, it's always the little things. And so I always like asking that question. I really love your answers as well. And I think even though COVID's still going around and so on and so forth, and hopefully in 22 maybe that portion of it will solve down. I don't know, but
I'm
we'll
hoping
see.
so.
You
Right.
and me both.
For the better.
You and me both, and especially for everybody out there, and maybe hopefully it'll be a good year. But before we end the show, I want to start a little new segment or portion of the show. It's called the hot seat, and pretty much random questions that I thought of or might have been tweeted in or DM'd, I guess is what you call it. But nonetheless, presented by Law Terrain Watches, of course. Check them out. Use the code AirRaid to save 10% on all your orders. Number one, Prince, if you were on a game show and you won $200,000, what would you personally do with it?
I would personally clear all the debt that I have, um, invest a portion of it, and try to put some money down for my mother's house.
Love it. Especially love the debt part, because trust me, I would do the same exact thing. I'm getting there, but it's a slow process. Past or present, if there happened to be one football player that you would just love to hang out with, chill with, whatever, who would that be?
Honestly, Jerry Rice.
Oh, yes.
I see Jerry Rice, and I love his game. I love who he is as a person, what he's done, what he's doing. And I kind of resemble my game a little bit after him, honestly. Even though he's a taller guy than me, but how we move in and out of our routes and stuff like that, and we're hands catchers and stuff. So
I know we all like to eat. What's your favorite kind of food?
honestly, pasta. Big
Yes.
pasta guy. I love pasta. That's me.
Um, let's see, where's it? Okay, there we go. Oh, interesting one. Besides Orlando, Florida, if you could move anywhere, regardless if the United States or the world doesn't, let's not even include COVID. I know there's borders closed, but we're not even talking COVID. If you could move anywhere, regardless of the United States or the world, where would you move?
I would probably say Venezuela, actually.
Nice.
Yeah. My future fiance is from there. Um, and I would love to go back to her country and see how it is out there and really grow out there as well. It's beautiful though.
If you've never, if you never, that was okay. If you, the person typed out never, if you're not playing football, what are you doing for fun?
Oh, that's a tough one. Wow. Honestly, actually, it's not tough. It's very easy. Video games. I'm a gamer. Um,
Nice.
Xbox. My gamer tag is Blacking, BLACCING. I love playing shooting games, Call of Duty, Madden, of course. Forza Horizon 5 is the big one that I'm playing now currently. Yeah, so I love to play video games, man. And also I love being outdoors. If I can go ride a bike or if I can, go to a movie, just anything, just to get outdoors and just to hang out for a little while.
I'll definitely have to text you get your Xbox gamer ID again because I'll definitely hit you up. I'm a
For
Call of Duty
sure.
person too, so
Yeah.
we'll definitely be up. Last last two three questions. Um, where's it at? Oh, there it is. Who is your favorite musical artist?
Favorite musical artist. Mm, I really like J. Cole.
Nice.
J. Cole is a lyricist. He's very, very good with his words. He actually raps. So there's a lot of rappers these days, who just are really mumbling, not really saying a bunch of things. So yeah. I like him. I like J. Cole and I like Toby. Toby is nice too. He's a good rapper.
And the last one, and this one I'm gonna ask because I'm gonna definitely get help get the name out there as a if practically you're speaking to I don't know head coaches, offensive coordinators, recruiting coordinator, it doesn't matter. Whatever league that they're in and however the structure is, that's on them. But that's all this is directed towards all of them. What would a team get in a player like you?
I mean, they'll get a player that understands his role, that understands the game, that is a student of the game, a person who loves the community, a person who just wants to learn and continue to help people around him grow and make an impact. That's the type of player I am, besides all the athleticism that we know. I look at what I can bring to an organization, from the business aspect as well, being personable, being able to conduct myself on and off the field accordingly, just getting down to business, showing you guys that I'm not just gonna take a kick return to the house, but I'm gonna block on screens. I'm gonna run down on kickoff and make a tackle. That's the type of player I am. I'm gonna go get it by any means necessary. And my tape shows that. You go back and watch my film and you'll see.
There you have it, guys. And last, because I'm sure I probably butchered it, and this has nothing to do with the questions. You've been listening to Hot Seat, presented by Law Train Watches. Check them out. Use the air raid code, save 10%. How do you say your last name, by the way?
Shonola.
Shonola.
Prince
There we go.
Shonola. I got a nickname from Mr. Mike Riley when he was with the AAF of the San
Oh
Antonio
yes.
Commanders and Daryl Johnston. They called me the Showtime. Prince Showtime Shinola, the Rocky legend. They gave me the nickname. So Call it whatever you want.
And there you go, Jamie. If you're listening to this, Mike Riley, of course, former Nebraska Cornhusker, or of course, as we all know, from Oregon State, phenomenal guy. Never met him, but heck of a coach. But Prince, my man, you're always welcome to come back on. I enjoyed this, loved hearing the story, and trust me, I'm definitely going to help you out and get your name out there on Twitter.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me. I appreciate everyone tuning in, man, and just stay prayed up, guys, and God bless and be safe.
You've been listening, guys, to Prince, the Rocky Mountain product, recent with the Orlando Predators, and trust me, he'll be back in the game sooner than later. But guys, thank you so much, and have a wonderful weekend. You've been listening to the Air Raid Attack podcast. We'll see you later.